Howdy, howdy, everyone. Welcome to Between Two Wolves, Episode 6. I'm here with WonderSim today, one of our most prominent and prolific builders on the team, and she's going to be taking us a tour through a bunch of her builds as we talk. How are you today, Wonder?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I appreciate you asking. So, if you wouldn't mind leading us through Sear Haven, you were not the only builder on this, right? But you were the most prominent one, right? On the Sear Haven
Yes.
rework?
Yes. Kat did some of the builds, the towers, that tall towers you see, the bridge. That was all Kat. Some of the interiors he did, but I did most of the builds.
Fantastic. Would you mind giving us a tour?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So the square you see here, we haven't really done much with it. A lot of questions have been asked about, where are we going with the ground, the pathing, and that will come about as we move forward into 118 and such. Not a lot of block options that I think make a lot of sense.
Sure.
In this current release. But we've been working in 118 for quite a bit on Region 3, and I think it's there's a lot of new options that I'm excited to do here.
Fantastic. Do you think the cobble will be replaced? That's one of the most ancient staples of Minecraft. It'll be almost weird to see it go, if so.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think we'll play around with it. I don't have anything against cobble. I use cobble all the way down on all the different phases. So I have no problem with cobble. I think, I tried to put in some variation, some mossy cobble and some others of what we have in 116. And it was just really kind of took away from the focus, which is the buildings, not so much the ground. So I don't know. We'll see what we do in a future update.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and follow you.
Too.
So, first question from the patrons. How did you come up with your username?
Well, I think it's probably pretty obvious. I used to play a lot of The Sims, SimCity, a lot of that group of games. And, sometimes when you pick your name, you don't realize where it's going to lead you.
Oh, goodness, yes.
I didn't expect to have this name associated with Monumenta, but it is just the way it happened. And, I really, at the time, loved playing The Sims, and it was something that, sort of prepared me for building, because it is a building type of, it can be a building type of game.
Absolutely.
And
Which were your favorites?
Expansion-wise, or...
Of The Sim, I mean, there's The Sims, there's
SimCity.
SimCity. Okay, SimCity,
Yeah,
cool.
SimCity was probably my favorite, and City Skylines, although that's not Sim. But City Skylines was a lot of fun. So, and I still like to dabble there every so often. But yeah, that world building is really fun. I wish there were more world building games. Not too many out there.
Well, we're glad you've played them. If it helps inspire you for these kind of builds. What is your favorite content that you've made here in Monumenta to play?
To play.
Mm-hmm.
I think Teal is probably my favorite to play. I think since I'm a scout, you can really jump around a lot, and it's I don't know. I think it's made. I don't know if it's made for scout, but it really is fun to play, just to bounce around from island to island, and it's a fun concept. Teal, how you move from era to era, and you kind of know what you're going to encounter, but it's different. The mobs are different. The difficulty is different depending on where you're at with it.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Aesthetically, as a builder, what's your favorite thing you've made?
Gosh, I guess Teal still. I really like some of the, well, at least one of the POIs that I've made in Region 2, Vengeance of the Sea. It's very different kind of build compared to, the typical Monumenta build. It's an organic, with, I think, a good amount of gameplay, but it's very different. That was a really fun build to do, and really one of my first builds for Monumenta. I was just an intern at the time, so that was one of my favorite ones too.
Very good. When did you join the team?
I joined in May 2019, so I can't believe it's at one
I
time.
know.
It sort of feels like it's yesterday, and another. I don't know when I didn't actually build in Monumenta, so
That's fun. I know the feeling. Yeah.
it's interesting. It's been really really wild, and so many challenges and so many opportunities to really uh learn from a lot of people, hone my skills being I had none coming in as an intern.
Oh, I don't know about that. Surely, what else
No,
had you built beforehand? What was your history with that?
so to be honest, I joined the I don't know when I joined the player build shard. It was right around the time that Region 2 POIs were being built. So we on the build chart we were allowed to build, like, Square would mentor us and give us a slice of land that would represent the area we would put our POI. We would have some direction on that. But honestly, when I joined the build chart, I had never played in creative. I only did survival building.
Wow.
So I knew nothing.
I'm really surprised to hear that. That's
I knew
very
nothing.
impressive.
Nothing. I mean, tools. I remember joining at the same time. BSM, I think, was there for a little while before I was. And so he had built, of course, he's a map maker. So
Mhm.
I'm like, how do I set a block? I have to build in the void, but how do I actually make that happen? How do I place my first block? So
Exactly.
he was, very helpful with that, very, guided me. And Square, of course, was my, number one mentor for working the build chart and really bringing me into the team. But I watched a lot of uh, creative builder videos, like Grian and Pearlescent Moon, Meg Ray, people who actually would show you the commands that you should be executing, what their thought process is when they build. And you know, I personally don't consider myself a naturally creative person. It takes me a while to kind of figure out how I want to build or what I want to build or what it should. I kind of know what it should look like, but getting there takes a little bit of time. So
Certainly. So you've hinted
yeah.
at your CTM experience with BSM and map making. Tell us about that. How'd you get started? What was your first CTM? How'd you find that whole genre, and what are your favorites?
Well, I played a lot of just survival Minecraft. I think Chipmunk said the same thing in his interview. And he played a lot of survival Minecraft, or was that Stick? Not sure, but in any case, and survival is great up to the point where it's boring. And I don't mean to have anything against survival, but there's only so many things you could do. So I really looked for maps that were custom maps for survival. I found a bunch of those, and those were fun. And I honestly don't know how I got into CTM. I think I probably played a Vex or Helicio map, thought it was amazing, found
Mm-hmm.
CTMC. I've been on CTMC forever. And I just played every single CTM map I could find. I really did.
That's
I
awesome.
remember, in my application for Monumenta to play in beta. I'm like, I have played over 100 CTMs, and it's just, to me, it was just any content I could find. It was really super fun to play, super challenging and unique. And every single map coming out, it was greater than the last. Like the Ragecraft maps and the Renders maps, just Caro's maps, just every single time they just one-up themselves and just really expanded the genre. And I think it doesn't, even to this day, get as much play as it deserves.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's too challenging. Maybe it's just too much for the general Minecraft player, the casual player.
Could be.
But
Do you
yeah,
have,
so much
what are
fun.
some of your, I mean, you've named some of your favorite series, but what are some of your favorite individual maps, even within those? What do you look back most fondly on?
I think Ragecraft 3, uh, Corona Trials, definitely. Those are probably my two favorites. I should be moving around.
Oh, if you want.
Yeah.
This is working well.
I did have a list, but I don't know where it is. It was around here somewhere.
Maybe we'll have to put that up during the video when it shows. I'll do an overlay.
Okay.
Mob
I
Ross in the
have them.
future, put it here.
I have them actually listed, and yeah, I have a little blurb because you play so many, you forget why you like one versus another, or why you like one mapper versus another. And I remember, there was a map. Actually, do I have the list here? I don't think I do. There was a map that had made by Fang, and I was so excited for his next version of that map. It's the quintessential. He has been promising Septum for a long time, and finally did kind of create that in the form of Fallen Forum. But I remember writing in my little notes years and years ago, I hope this map maker makes a new map because his first one was so good. And I did, of course, get to meet and work with Fang, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
How long ago did Septum start being promised? Maybe this is something for his interview whenever it comes around. But I'll have to get the story there.
God, what, like 5 years ago?
Only 5? I thought it was like
Maybe
7.
more?
Wow.
Well, actually, I know it has to be more because we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary for Monumenta, right? So
Right.
you're right. It probably is going on 8 or so.
Sure.
Maybe?
And there's that bit floating out to the north up there. So yeah, it must have been.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
mind showing me some of your favorite things here in Sear Haven that you've made that we haven't seen yet? Make sure we cover them.
Gosh.
And tell
Well,
us about it. Tell us about remaking the city.
okay. So the city has, I joined Monumenta in actually the same as you, right? First round beta.
Yep. I think we were within
And
about an hour of each other when we first joined.
yeah. And since then, Sear Haven has always been kind of, I don't know, sacred to me. Like I was always very, you see that things could potentially be improved, but I always felt like, oh, so much history, so many players have walked through these streets. I didn't feel like it was my place to make changes, but I think when the project came up this year, it just felt like the right time. And I felt like, at this time, maybe I could, I had achieved the skill to maybe pull it off. So, I don't know. I think the whole team supporting the remake and being interactive with how it was going as we went along, giving suggestions on changes here and there in palette was really, really helpful. And just kind of digging in on the reason each building exists, like the arcane emporium over here. It wasn't very magical before, and I don't know if it's really magical now, but it was, to me, it needed a lot more that said this is potion, this is all about potion. So the nether worked, and the purple and the glass and all of that is, I think, makes it a bit more magical. It's a great palette to work with. One thing I love so much about Sear Haven project was it's just about building. It's not really about, hey, there's the gameplay and where the spawner is going to go, and the pacing of the play style and area, and is it good for a scout versus other types of players. So it was just about purely building and making it aesthetically pleasing, and that was really a nice fun change for me to really just dig in on making something attractive. And this is probably one of my favorite buildings. Just the
What
colors are pretty, and it all kind of came together.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color, I go between blue and green, maybe teal, but I wouldn't say it's teal. I think it's those winter type colors. They're my favorite.
Awesome. I never found the netherwork crops. These are cute. I hadn't been this way yet.
I haven't really, nobody's really said much about this area.
Yeah, a little greenhouse.
I really like it because we had farms before, right, in the old building, and I wanted to honor the old buildings in some way and not just strip everything that the old building was about. So there was some connection back to old, either lore or, just honoring the old buildings. I don't know if I completely did that, but that's why these crops are here. Is really, we did have them before, so. And then across the way, over at the area over here, the workshop. The workshop before was a forge and workshop, and it just needs some updating and some more. I don't know, a build that really said this is a workshop. I mean, you have obviously you have people working, you have workbenches, and just the newer blocks compared to when the old workshop was created, I think really set the scene. So it was really fun. And then the upstairs was a fun place. I really kind of dug into the whole granite and brick to kind of make it an industrial feel, like something you would see in a loft or an actual factory. Very city oriented. So that was fun. And to be able to build with all of the ores was nice.
Absolutely. How do you feel about the new textures for these?
I like them. I like the idea that you have different ones. Like in is it, you don't have the deep slate variant here. So I think with that, it makes it even better. The darker variant, like this is just a stone variant of coal, but there's also a deep slate variant. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
It's a much darker look. It's a nice block. It's a nice block even to build with. It's different.
Absolutely. Speaking of some of the newer blocks, what are your thoughts on the deep dark and its applications for Monumenta?
I have been looking at what it has, content-wise, what it has, and I think others have said the same thing. Like I don't know if it has a Monumenta, an extra special Monumenta effect. Whether it's really going to affect us or not. Oh, you got barrier blocks here.
Yeah, that's a whole quest section. Where else in Sear Haven do you want to show off?
Let's go over to. We went to Sear Haven Circle. I think we did. Maybe this square, just the square area. Let's
do it. When you first joined, did you feel pressure to be perfect right off the bat?
Yes and no, I guess. Being that I had no real experience with the tools and I was learning as quick as I could and trying not to make a fool of myself for not knowing what I was doing. That's pressure. That's pressure for anybody in that kind of situation. But everybody's so nice and so encouraging. Square was very patient and, offered all kinds of um, assistance, like answer any kind of question on tools and how you use certain tools. It was nice. And then, I think there's so many projects going on at the time because Region 2 was just coming out. There were dungeons to be built. There were other projects that were underway, lots of quest work, and it was just kept busy. And there were a lot of people too because I joined when Shadow and Sunny joined at the same time, and they were so encouraging and really great at building and at gameplay design and all of that. So um I don't know, I guess I wanted to, I did feel like I had nervous that I had to be perfect, and then kind of realized that everybody's learning and it's a lot of it's new for everybody.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite other team member? And if so, are you willing to say?
Mm. I knew this question was going to come up.
Yeah, I know. It's a
How
rough
can I
one.
possibly
Whoever
choose?
asks this is horrible. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
for your
horrible.
support, but
New
you're
people.
horrible for asking this.
Um, it's I think it's you work with certain people more often than others, and not that you don't meet work with a lot of different people within the team, but you tend to work with people more often. Like as a builder, I work with other builders, so are they my favorite people? I love to work with Shadow. I think that he is an amazing uh, mentor when it comes to level design, and is truthful in his review of what you're building. You're always going to get an honest view. Same with Kat. I really enjoy working with Kat because I can always count on that, honesty and attention to detail, and lots of fun. Sunny's, although I haven't worked with her in a while, she's such a fantastic builder. Square, uh, I wouldn't be in Monumenta probably as a builder if she didn't encourage me to apply to the team. You,
Well, we're
Ari,
very glad
you have been a very great person to work with.
Oh, thank you.
In Clash
That's
of the
sweet.
Creators, we work a lot on that, and
you
you're
and
always
Nick do.
incredibly encouraged. Well, no, not true. You're always very encouraging and always positive, always positive. Such a breath of fresh air. So thank you.
Thank you. That's so nice, Wonder.
Mhm.
Same to you.
Thanks.
You're a delight to work with. You want to move on to Vengeance of the Sea? Is there anything
Yeah,
else in Sear
sure.
Haven that stands out? All right,
Yeah.
we're here in the Celsian Isles now, looking at one of Wonder's first, along with Vengeance of the Sea. Is that fair to call it one of your first major POIs here?
Yeah, Abbey of Angels. Yeah. I made 4 POIs for region 2. It was some on the build chart, and actually I did this one on the build chart, the player build chart, and um 2 others. What was it? Guardian's Gate and Tangle Cove. I did those on the build chart as well, and Square took them and integrated them into the world. And so the first time I saw them really in the world was when we were playing in Region 2.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
it was really like, where is it? Where is it? I have to find it. And yeah, so this is definitely one of my uh it, it's one that I I shouldn't say despise. I like it a lot, but I think it has a lot of room for improvement. But I give myself a break on it because it was one of my first, and I learned a lot in building this. Um, yeah, so it took forever in the sense of I had never built a structure that had so many different things going on, so many different towers and buildings, and just a few weeks before this, I had never played in creative. So yeah,
That's
it was.
wild.
I shouldn't say weeks. It was probably a couple of months, but
Even
it was
so,
still
like snapshot
yeah.
this and say this was made by someone who only had a couple months in creative.
Well, you can
That's
tell there are a lot
hilarious.
of tools that helped. Also, these domes are not, hand placed. They are sort of hand placed because that one's a little bit different. But in any case, I um, I see a lot of things I could improve, and I think every so often, oh, I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on it because it's got some really flat places. But I don't know. It's lower down on my priority to actually change. Um, I think new blocks might help as well. But it'll always be, have a soft spot in my heart because it's one of the first ones that I did that I think worked out pretty well. The next one would be Vengeance of the Sea that we could maybe take a look at.
Absolutely.
So
I'll follow you.
how should we go over to POI? I don't think
Yeah,
we
we can do the POI master.
Okay.
I'll leave
Okay.
this in. This will be a fun
The-
behind the scenes for them.
Yes, these
This
are
is,
all.
in fact, yeah. This will be fun. This is our full POI warp. We've got the master copies and the normal ones here, all
Yeah.
color coded and sorted.
Yes.
So
we start from we have what, over 100 POIs
I
in
think
region
so.
2? Yeah, so it's a lot.
I don't use it enough to just know right where to
Yeah.
go for vengeance.
Well, I
Where is
know
vengeance?
it's down here. Yeah. Up here. Up here? Here.
Wow, it's one of the last. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there we go.
Vengeance. Let's see. Well, they're color coded too. So this is all kind of physically in the same area, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
So I finished. I think I started and finished this when I was an intern. One of my first real builds, knowing where it was going to be placed. So when we did Abbey of Angels and Tangle Cove and that, I didn't know what the region looked like. So you build for as much as you're given the information on what it, like we had a slice of the ocean or whatever the place was that we were going to have it put in, but you don't really get a full sense of what it's going to look like. And this is the first time I knew where it was going to be placed in the world, close to White Cliff and all of that. And this gorgeous glass on the bottom on the ocean floor. Isn't that beautiful? That I didn't do that. That was frost. I think that was frost. I want to say it was frost. You might know better than I, since you're on the team before that.
Yeah, I don't know too much about who did most of the ocean or which part of the ocean. I know a couple biomes, but I don't know who did this one. It is lovely, whoever it was.
Oh yeah, it really sets off any sort of build that would be on it. But this is my first, and not last, but I mean my first large organic type of build, and that incorporates gameplay as well. I didn't know if it was gonna work for gameplay, but I think it works well enough.
I think it's so well hidden that there even is gameplay. Like you look at it and you're like, oh, there's a ship and you can stand on them, but where do you go?
Yeah, and the ship is a little wonky. I think anything in Minecraft that is twisted, it's meant to be pulled and slanted. So the ship, when it was built, is of course upright, and then you use tools to slant it over, toward the
serpent,
like 33-degree angle. So so it looks like it's being pushed and pulled between these two animals, and so I don't know if it really completely came across, but that was what it was supposed to be. I think it looks a little bit better from this other side. You can see the sails
Mm-hmm.
are moving to
Full
the
of
left.
wind, and
Hmm. And being pushed and pulled.
that's
And I
awesome.
remember actually showing you this when it was being built. I don't know if you remember that.
I think
But
so. Because I tried to stay very unspoiled on R2's Overworld. I know very little of what's in R3, honestly, but yes, I remember this being one of the first things I
yeah, and
saw.
you saw some of my early editions of the Kraken, and it was it looked
Yes, I
like
remember
it's
your
like a little
prototype
bug.
squids.
It looked like a little bug. And it finally came together with a lot of my typical place a block, uh, take away a block, place a block, put 3 more blocks in, take away 5. That's kind of
That
how I build in a lot of ways. It's very iterative to make sure I achieve what I want it to look like. I think it kind of goes back to that. I don't think I have a real natural artistic ability. It's just a lot. I wouldn't say it's all trial and error, but it's a lot of trial and error.
iterations,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which I think ties into one of the questions I was going to ask. What do you do for a living?
I'm an engineer. I'm a telecom engineer, and so I I'm definitely not an artist. I don't have any. A lot of people that you've interviewed so far, they're in theater and they sing and they play instruments, and like, I don't do any of that. I don't think I have. I can't draw um, that kind of thing. I think that Minecraft is like one of the perfect ways for me to be a bit artistic. It's it's great for an engineer in that if you think in pixels
Mm-hmm.
and if you can formulate an image based on a pixelated view of an object, then you can make it curve in Minecraft. But you have to have that like pixelated kind of brain, at least for me.
Sure. Well, your humility is admirable, but I think I speak for a large portion of the team and the player base that you are an artist, whether or not you do it in the style of a conventional artist or iteratively. Because
I
you
definitely
are
not.
you are one of our best builders, bar none,
Thank you, thank
if
you.
not the
It's
best.
it
I
it
mean that.
takes a while to get there, and this actually this curve on the serpent was due to my exhaustive research in not only how organics are made, but because I didn't really know how to make this kind of thing, but there are tools that you can use to like generate this the swing of the neck. It's not meant to be a serpent, but you can use generate commands. They're very complicated, long commands, but that's what I used. I didn't really place every block here. I generated a mathematical formula that created the head or the neck. So it was it's using math and using a bit of creativity to bring it all together. But it was really fun.
That's awesome. You want to show us purple or teal? Would you like to move on to another
Uh,
build?
yeah. So let's head over to teal for now. This was a really fun build.
Do tell. Tell us all about it.
So the original concept, it was like a 1.5, 2-pager story description that was written by Kaladin when he was on the team, and it talked about a Greco-Roman society. It talked about some of the lore around this that everyone kind of knows, and of course lore was added to and morphed a little bit, but in general a society or a build where you have um, over time the build is you go back in time basically, or forward in time, where you see how the build changes over the lifespan of the city. or the structure. And it was such a cool concept. The whole Greco-Roman idea of it is one genre that is perfect for Minecraft. Like Minecraft has certain build styles it's meant for, like um, this type of Greco-Roman. I think like the just structured type of builds.
Which is surprising to me as a non-builder, because I think of Greco-Roman stuff as very circular and not contributing to Minecraft's aesthetic. Why is that?
It's very pillar based. Like if you, and I don't know if everything I have in here is, and I didn't build everything in here, first of all. I built this central island. It was the first thing we had built, and I remember taking a picture of it after I had been done, and there's nothing else at all. It's just the walls, bare walls, and then this sitting on this island. Not even in this complete state, but it kind of was built based on some concept art that I had seen, and it just the building itself was the concept art and a little bit of this middle. And to be able to bring that together in a real build, to realize what, just to make it happen, to make this kind of half circular kind of build and still keep it very formal looking. I was really excited about it. The palette is so much fun to work with. Quartz, there's so many quartz variants. The pillars and the smooth and
That's
everything
very
is,
true.
there's so you can twist it and make it however you want it. You have all this prismarine, which is a beautiful block. All the variants of prismarine, really nice. The cyan color for the windows, it's just a very, and the color of the water, it's just really a pleasant build. This, I guess we came up with purple, so purple also had a very vibrant color, but this is a little bit more structured. This is not meant to be a very wood heavy build. You see it's mostly stone everywhere, except for the trees, of course. Sunny's gorgeous trees. Yeah, so it's different than purple. It was just a very pleasant place to work in general. But yeah, I guess the circular, the Colosseum up here was another one of my builds. That was so much fun to work on. I think one of the reasons I have so much fun building these types of builds is because I've done a bit of traveling, and I've been to the Colosseum in Rome, and not that this is that, but just some of the concepts that are present in those ancient builds is some things I tried to create, like the platform up here, all of the flags and banners that you'd see below ground. There's the place where you would put the animals, but we don't really have any animals except for mobs down here. But it would,
Right.
there was
There's the
a
big beast in
concept.
Era 3.
Yeah,
The
there was
Ravager.
a time when hopefully I was hoping that we could use some sort of mechanism to take animals and raise them up into the Colosseum,
Oh, that'd be
like you
cool.
would. But yeah, that didn't actually. It was definitely more trouble than it was worth. And
That's
yeah,
really interesting that you've been to the Colosseum. I don't know if you've seen Stick's interview yet, but he mentioned going to the Duomo in Milan as one of the inspirations for Light
yeah.
Gray. Will you tell us more about your travels and how they've influenced your work
I
here?
love traveling, and I think that's I'm very privileged to have done some traveling. I I think a lot of Sear Haven is somewhat built around time spent in London and Rome, and mostly London, and Bath, and um, I think it's so important to see the world, to see how other cultures' history is in their buildings and in um, their food and their language and their everything. I think I just love traveling. Um, I I haven't done any that much traveling that's too far reaching. I mean, I haven't been to Australia and east, but in general, it's been Europe and all over the United States and Canada. But I think my European trips are definitely my favorite from a culture perspective. Going to the
Understandably.
various museums, going to Paris and the Louvre, and going to many different London museums. Um, and I think also doing a lot of tours, a lot of people, you know, aren't into formal tours. And I don't mean a tour as in you're on a 3-day excursion with a bunch of people you don't know. I mean more of a walking tour, something that's a short-lived, um, with an expert, a short-lived walk around the city with an expert. That's really how I learned a lot about London, and those tours will show you the most interesting places. They showed us the oldest bar in town. They showed us
How old is the
some
oldest bar in
nice.
town in London?
I don't remember. It's very old.
Because I mean, that could be like a
Very,
millennium
very
for all I know.
yeah, yeah,
With
yeah.
the
It
Battle of
was really
Hastings
old.
or
It was
something.
black. It was almost black inside because of all of
Wow,
the smoke and grime and everything over time. It was pretty cool.
that's very cool.
And what else? Like the Knights Templar, and just very interesting. And I've taken a bit of that, and I think tried to incorporate it in some of these builds, make them as authentic as possible. This particular build up here was actually not that. This is just some, uh, I think, I don't remember what game. It was like based on some concept art for a game. Not, and I think it was just in concept form. I don't think it was a game that was actually produced, but it
How about that?
was, that's a lot of inspiration, as well as to do your research on Pinterest and other Reddit and other places where there's a lot of concept art. That gaming concept art is amazing, and what people have created. Yeah.
Do
Um,
you think I would find whatever the concept art for this was in License to Build? I can put it in the video here.
no, it's not there, but I could send you what it was
Yeah,
separately.
if you find
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I've slapped like Cronus' picture of his
yeah.
husky,
And you,
things like that. We can.
yeah, you're gonna look at this and say that doesn't look anything like it, but it
Oh, I
was.
don't know.
That's the thing about concept art. You're not supposed to copy it. It's just
Right.
an idea. And even over here, um, this is loosely based on the Supreme Court building, United States Supreme Court building.
Yep.
I
Don't
wanted
you
a
have the
courthouse.
basketball court in there somewhere?
That was going. Well, we never did that, but that
Oh, we never
was.
did.
We really should have, but it just didn't come about. Um, yeah, this was. I don't know if a lot of people completely realize it's a courthouse. I think it looks like one, and it kind of ties back to that
I
Greco-Roman
think they either think it's a
thing.
courthouse or a school. But I don't know
Yeah.
why there'd be 5 chairs if it was a school. So yeah, I think most people will figure it out. That's awesome.
And then what we go down over here?
What are some things that have surprised you most about working on the game?
Um, I think one thing that surprised me was just how much structure has to exist in order for something like Monumenta to exist. There, like, I don't know how Busty and Nick and everybody else maintain such databases and servers and networking, complex networking structure, lag mitigation. Oh my gosh, there's so much that goes into maintaining this game. There really is. That was a big surprise to me. That somehow I thought Mojang would have created the environment. Yeah.
No, but it really has been a perfect storm of somehow.
I feel like, yeah, it's a lot of open source, and therefore, and a lot of other. We're dependent on a lot of other projects, just like ours. They're volunteer. If somebody on that project decides they're not going to do it anymore, we don't have that tool anymore. And that's where things like fast async world edit, we struggle sometimes because they just don't update quick enough. I think that's changed a lot over the last few years, but I was really surprised that there was that the structure is very self-maintained, and you got to have very smart people running the show.
Thank goodness we do.
In order to, oh my God, yes, definitely.
Want to show us the lower section?
Oh yeah, sure. So which ones?
Whatever suits your fancy.
Well, this is one of my favorite builds. Again, this was a concept art inspired build, and it has a lot of levels, and I like it because it was a first time I really was able to practice with landscaping, and this, the pond and the river, the waterfall and such, and creating that.
It's comfy.
Was really fun. It is comfy. It was really fun. The watercolor is just so beautiful. Yeah, so I mean, this build, this whole dungeon was, certainly not built by me at all, but only me, I should say. There was a ton of people. Shadow was lead on this. Sunny did a tremendous amount of building and really created a lot of the little islands that you have. So there were, islands would be placed, and we would put builds on those islands. But I think one of the real special aspects of this is just how just the flow, how you get from one island to the other, I think is really what makes it quite special.
Mm-hmm.
Not
magical.
Just the builds. Yeah, I love it.
Would you like to go to Era 1 and talk about the process of turning this pristine build into a ruined one?
Yes.
Might be fun to hear.
Well, we thought about, actually, are you over there now? You're faster than I am.
I cheated. I went to spectator.
Okay. Yeah, I did too. Oh,
Era 1.
I'm not there. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. So this is the more ruined. This is not the most ruined, right? No.
Is it not? It's.
Is it? Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Oh, okay.
The other one has this. This is the most ruined. Yes. The other had a tree going through it partially.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say struggled, but we tried to figure out what would be the best way to present ruin, and we could build ruined, and then build the next error when it was improved. And we went the opposite way, because I think it's always easier to build a pristine structure and then ruin it. So we basically created duplicates of the major structures we wanted to keep in the builds, like the middle island, the Colosseum, the big tree, the judicial building, and then ruin those from there and come up with a a palette that would represent what that it was decaying, and that everything was going to ruin, but you could still see the old building in the as it maybe once stood. So that
Absolutely.
was a lot of fun, and not every single building is from the other era. There are some that are new, like what's over here is new. This is a new island. It wasn't in the old one. There may be some, like it might sort of be part of what was an old island, but generally speaking, it's no longer here. Like that, um, these are not in the same line as they were before. So it creates
Sure.
a slightly different gameplay experience. It's not all exactly the same, and you just go through ruined, exactly the same era, which was important.
For sure. Was it
I
sad at
think,
all to have to ruin your pristine builds?
yeah, yeah. Like the Colosseum was fun actually. I Instead of just ruining it, I actually moved it several blocks up and down as well. So it's not in that round shape anymore. It's actually askew. Let me go into
I'd never realized. That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I can
it's
kind of see it. I'm right above it looking down.
yeah, I think so from like here to over here, I just moved it down a block, and then these moved down a few more blocks. And then leaves. I think that's the number one block I've ever placed in Monumenta has been leaf block. And also in light gray is a lot of ice, but in general, every builder will, the majority of their builds will be a lot of leaves if it's any sort of decay. And
That's
leaves
fair.
do forgive every sort of build error as well.
They forgive?
Yeah, so if you have something that's a little wonky, a little not
Mm.
straight as you'd want, put a couple of leaves on it and you'll it'll ever know.
I love that. Chip is probably celebrating when he watches this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so we changed the walkways to be a bit different, different palette. It's now all sand down here. So we actually made quite a few changes to the builds. Like I think this down here does. Yeah, there is a very decayed bottom area down here. And the other area, it's completely gone.
right, and then doesn't this open up to... I
Yeah,
remember you
it
can
does.
enter from down here in another era.
Is it the other?
I
I
think it
think it's the
opens
other
up. I
area.
recall coming in here from the bottom when I play it.
Yeah,
That's fun. Hey,
it's too many builds for me to keep track of.
you've just done so much. Have you ever had to scrap anything major that you've worked
Yeah,
on?
yeah. It's my style though. I am used to, you know, if I'm not happy with something, just select one, select two, delete, go, leave for the night, come back and try again. I try not to do that very often. There are some, and recently I have done it. It's not like you get to a point where you don't do that anymore. I think that unless you're willing to, completely delete something that's not quite right or not up to a standard that you set for yourself, you're never going to be happy with it, and you really need to start over. It's always going to annoy you that it's not quite right. So there was a couple builds in Region 3 that I did delete, and it's wipes out a couple weeks of work, but it's just the way it is.
Do you have them in storage somewhere for if you could ever repurpose
No.
them? Oh, wow, you
Mhm.
truly deleted.
Nope.
That's commitment.
No, well, it wasn't going to work. I mean, if it wasn't something that it would work maybe in a non-monumenta setting. Let's say that. as just a basic build. It
No,
just
that's
wasn't
fair.
going to work for our gameplay. Is that, I mean, that's something that I think I've learned over the years, um, from, building on the build chart to now, is that this building for Monumenta is not about building and, just general Minecraft building and creative. It's about map making and gameplay and, always keeping the player's journey through the map in mind as you do your build. So it's really cool to build something that's big and gorgeous and has, tall ceilings and a really impressive look. But if it doesn't play well, it's not what we're here for, you know? So it's taken me a while to figure that out. Um, that's
Well, there is
really
much wisdom in that. Would you like to go to purple and show us your builds there as we do the last questions?
sure. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so
So
the entrance is over here.
if you were
Yeah.
made the project lead of Monumenta, if you were Queen Wonder, what would you change about our game with no repercussions or resistance?
What would I change about? See, I think that you have asked this question before, and I didn't know what to answer before. Um, I think um, I think what I just talked about before in really focusing on gameplay, I would want to maybe collaborate more on and I myself need to ask for assistance with gameplay, and making sure that all the builds have the best gameplay possible. I don't know if that is a change, any kind of major change. It's kind of like obvious stuff, but I think that that's something that I always want to focus on and improve more than I have in the past. So
Excellent.
I don't know if anything really major.
Do you have a favorite memory of developing the game?
Developing the game.
Or playing?
I
Or
think
both?
I have a couple really. I think a lot of it has to do with the people that I'm building with. Um, th- my first building experience as an intern was working on Light Gray with Shadow and Sunny and Tazuna, and it was really fun. I learned a lot, and we shared ideas, and I felt like I became part of a team with with
Oh,
uh with that group, and then we kind of took that and moved into here to purple. um a- Purple was built by a ton of people, though. I mean, you have Skepticism and Nova and Frost, and everybody was involved
would you say
besides
this was the
Shadow.
most collaboration between different builders on Monumenta in purple?
Yeah, I think, well, I wasn't here for region 1, but and I wasn't here for the POIs that came before it, but I can't imagine a more collaborative effort. I mean, Square, and even Krondus he built this building over here.
Did he really? Well, he
He
was
did.
poo-pooing his build ability. It
No,
doesn't stand out as, oh yeah, that's the low point of the dungeon. Good for him.
no, it's a lovely building. And Square built much of this section over here, and other areas of the build. Sunny and the, I mean, I'm sure there were others that worked on it, Shadow as well, but I think Sunny did a lot of the shape of this, and it's hard to see without night vision. I don't know if you want to use your torch or not, but um, the shape of this upside down boat was just, to me, wow. I would have never thought of that. That is
Mm-hmm.
so cool, and it's the whole tavern here is just so well done, and the cliffside with all of the different paths and little buildings tucked away. I mean, for
It's
my
magical.
part of it, it was really much. I mean, I did this area up here with the boat, sunken boat, the bridge, the house, like, that kind of the building in the middle, here. Really, I kind of wanted to expand my, um,
This is a
a
very
lot of
fantastic building. I don't know, like in the literal sense of it's. I don't think this could exist in the real world, and I love it.
no, right. So it's a bit of steampunk, it's a bit of medieval, but it's got a fantasy slant to it.
Yeah, that's very
And
well
that's
done.
what I think we were going for in general. It's got a boat, shoved into the back of it. It's uh and even skepticism, and he did this angled boat here, gorgeous build. Um that is the same kind of, I don't know if I call it steampunk, but it's really a fantasy kind of, um everything around here is a little exaggerated in that point of view. Like the pirates really took over this cove and took their boats and made them homes. So it was really fun. It was a really fun build. And it changed a lot. This cove is then there's more to it, of course. Nover made some amazing tunnels with lots of coral. We did the whole water area here. Um, it was my first water area that I had done. So there's a lot of fun little builds throughout the water. And it was just very collaborative. I don't know anybody on the team who didn't have something to do with it. The maps, I think, well, Cronus, of course, did the mechanics on that.
Of course. And that is such a great, as you were talking about the integration of gameplay in the map, like the maps themselves, what a great way to get people to see all your builds by making
Yeah.
them go to random spots every single time they play it.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Why is Monumenta special to you? Or what makes our game special?
I think it's some sort of what I had said before. It, it's something that's allowed me to figure out a way to be creative. To I think I have some skill, some creative skill, but I never could find an outlet for it. I can design, uh, do some interior design in my house, and that's great. But it's really not. I don't know. To me, it's not as artistically fulfilling. But this, it's really Minecraft and Monumenta, and what we're building here has really allowed me to kind of explore that, and that's been really. Uh, uh, it's made a real difference to me.
Amen.
in my-
Well said. Do you have, what are some, you've hinted at interior design, what are some other hobbies or extracurriculars? What else brings you joy outside the game?
I do a good amount of gardening, travel, like I said before. My husband and I, we love to go sailing and diving, scuba diving. Um, had some really fantastic trips doing both. Hiking. Um, did I say cooking? Cooking. Those kind of things.
What's your favorite food to make and food to eat?
Oh gosh, that is
Or some
anything
of
my
them.
husband makes. Anything my husband makes. He is the most amazing cook in the world. I think, but what I do want to get is Stick's ramen recipe.
Yes, I
That
haven't
is,
made, he hasn't sent it to me yet.
I do want to get that because tonkatsu broth is not an easy thing to do to make it authentic. I'd really want
I've
to see what
tried, it was
that's like.
horrible.
Have you
It's
really?
easy to mess up.
Yeah, I would think it could taste really nasty if you don't do it the right way. Um, yeah, we love all kinds of food. I say to my husband is we try to eat around the world every week, so it's a little bit of um, American type of food. You might have burger, then you might have, Thai, and then we might make, something that's French. It's just a little bit of everything, a lot of variety. So I don't know if I really have a favorite. I think just the idea of keeping the variety is is what I like the most.
You're a true foodie.
I am a foodie.
That's awesome.
I'm a foodie, but I'm also privileged to have somebody who can make it for me.
Amen. What is? Let's kind of wrap up. What is something interesting about you that no one would think to ask in the first place? If you had a wild card question, what would you fill it with?
Well, I had thought about this one, and it's one that our group kind of knows about, but we work with Exuma on Clash of the Creators,
Mm-hmm.
and having worked with him during that process, I for that project, I found a lot of the maps that we played in for that project, and he asked me to find the season 9 seed for
It's so
Hermitcraft.
exciting.
Yeah, it was nice. It was surprising because I just don't expect it.
How long have you been watching the Hermits?
A couple of years. I mean, not maybe since their season 7, 6 or 7, somewhere in there. Not a huge amount of time, but I do enjoy watching it. I can't catch every episode. Too much going on in life, but I do. I'm really enjoying watching them, run around a map that I had found, a seed I had found, which took forever.
That's cool. Yeah. How many hours did you spend searching for that?
I don't really know, but it was
Enough that you don't know. That's telling.
No, it was true, because there would be like I would spend a couple hours on a weekend, and I put it away, couldn't find anything. Next weekend maybe find some candidates and trying to figure out what would be good, because they had to have everything, and you can't have everything. I know their nether is not great, but everything else is good. The nether just kind of stinks in general.
Well, I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or?
Yeah. No, I think so. It's so nice that this interview series came about. I think it's nice to hear from everybody.
It's nice that we have such a great team that we all have fun things to talk about.
Yeah. And I do hope to spend some more time on the build chart, the player build chart. It's like it said, it's busy. So if anybody has questions on builds, or anything they want to know about tool usage and that, I can help out.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to the patrons for your questions and for picking Wonder for this week. We hope that y'all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.